I couldn't find the recording button. They moved it.
So Mitzi, do you do counseling for the children or women that are coming back from being trafficked?
So we do have our safe houses. We have 8 different houses. And when they become program members, they do get case management and they meet with a therapist as well. Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
And
So you work with the FBI and the police department also?
I don't, but
The
our
organization does.
our search and recovery team does. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is so great. I've learned so much about human trafficking. It's just devastating. Um, yeah. So Maureen, welcome.
Don't see her.
I see her on the screen.
Oh. Hmm.
Well, Maureen, if you can hear us, we can't hear you. There you are.
There.
Ah, there she is. Great.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are.
Morning. Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah,
Hi.
missing Maureen works with human trafficking as well.
Yeah, she's
She's
somebody we can collaborate with. Or Vanessa's
yeah.
probably already collaborating with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Maureen, just to update you, Mitzi is sitting in for one of our members who run a human trafficking organization called Love Never Fails. And they do some miraculous work.
Question for Mitzi.
Yeah.
Where is that located at?
Our CEC, our main CEC is in Hayward.
Can you talk up a little bit, Mitzi?
Oh yeah. Let me make sure my audio.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. We're based in the Bay Area. So Hayward, San Francisco, Oakland, Santa Clara County. But I know that there have been some of our members who have come from outside of California too. And for our Tech Academy, it's like created as a workforce development to help survivors in underrepresented communities get education and workforce skills. That is available to anybody because it's online. So
Awesome. That's so great. Well, we have Marion on the call. Marion do our newsletters and work with the members on various things. She's helping Dr. Honeycutt, who Vanessa knows and loves, with her book, her 4th book, right? Yes, with her 4th book.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And Marion is the VP of marketing for PWIC. And I'm going according to my screen. And then we have Queen Marcia, Dr. Marcia Kent, with her beautiful lipstick. I was trying to match it, but I didn't make it yet. And she is at San Francisco State, and she works with, she's on the administration team, and she's an RN. She works in the health department, and she has many, many different projects. And
Too many.
She's an award-winning mental health, mentor program.
wow, that's awesome.
Thank you.
And we have Lorelei. Well, everyone on the call knows, but I'll let you know. We call her Noah's sister because she built
That's
something
great.
like Noah, like God told her to build a tourist attraction to help her city in Minnesota. and she was caught off guard by the media and all excited. And they said, "When will it be up?" She said, five weeks. And she didn't know what she was doing. So it was up in 5.5 weeks and brought in over 100,000 tourists.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's
What was
something.
it? What was
Wow.
it?
It was a tourist, I'll let her tell you a little later, but it's a tourist village where it would bring in, so the people, a tourist attraction where it draw people to the city to bring in more money for her community.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And Mitzi, for those just getting on the call, works with human trafficking, and the organization that she works with, Vanessa is our member, but Vanessa's out, so she's sitting in for Vanessa, and Vanessa Russell, and they do some Love Never Fails. They do some miraculous work. And then we have Maureen. Maureen worked with almost all underprivileged, homelessness,
Quite a cafeteria of
yes, the education, and
Yeah.
improving education, and human trafficking. And she's just have a huge heart for people.
Well, and I always like to find out about things so we can make connections. And so maybe Missy, maybe at another time I could email you and then find out, check out your website, see what you do.
Yeah.
I helped write a curriculum for it's kind of like a mentoring where it was with the state police, and then they would go right into the classrooms, and it was a character education program. But then what we did is added some elements, some lessons about trafficking, because it's just something people don't know about, parents don't know about. And then we have one for the teachers as well. So there's things going on in kind of pockets, but it's just always good to kind of connect the dots and find out what some best practices are. So,
Oh yeah, definitely. I would love to have a meeting with you and collaborate, especially since I'm in charge of our education side of yeah. So yes, that is my role. We do have like some curriculum, but I think it's always good to again collaborate and see best ways to reach the audiences, especially the youth. I do have a presentation at a middle school coming up to teach them about human trafficking. So definitely, I will put my email in the chat if anybody wants to connect.
oh, wonderful.
And I just put up Joanne's book for everyone. The forgiveness habit, because Mitzi said you wanted the link to the book.
Yeah.
So I put that up in the chat for everyone.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And so next on my screen, I have Dr. Denise Strong. And Denise is the reason why I'm here. She threw me to California. Made me go all over the world. PWI. But she's in New Orleans. He's a really good friend. And he's also my coach in a landmark program. So
And I want to say just a word to Mitzi.
yes.
Just being on this call.
We should.
You know, I've had family members disappear without a trace. Never heard from again. And I just connected the dots on this call that maybe they were the victims of human trafficking.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, so that's just something maybe you could say a word about.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
One of the things that we do at Love Never Fails is help find missing persons, missing people. We have a whole team that does that, and working with families, the police department to do so. And then once individuals are found, bringing them into our housing so that they can be loved on, supported, and because during those situations, a lot of trauma can impact a person, and sometimes people need a moment to work through that trauma, and people come back with PTSD, um, just a range of mental health uh, things that come from the experiences that they had. So that's why we have our 18, it's an 18-month program that we do with our members. Again, providing case management, life coaching, their therapy, and then also giving them those workforce skills as well so that they're able to um, readjust to the community after our program and getting them connected to the right people. And again, I think the main thing is just showing them love. All of the housing staff and members of Love Never Fails just have a really big heart for service and um, just bringing people and making them feel like they're back in their family. So again, I want to just say thank you for sharing something so vulnerable. Um, and that's why we do what we do, to help people and to make sure that families are reunited. That's why I do feel, though I am newer at Love Never Fails, I do feel very blessed to have the opportunity to do that and be a part of that reunification of families. But I just wanted to thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you, Denise. I just realized I had a family member too that we couldn't find and I never thought about. And he's been missing for like 2 years. He was young, so.
And I'll say another word, Mitzi. I'm starting to connect the dots. I always associated with human trafficking with women only, but the people I'm talking about are men. And I think I'm now understanding that's also another aspect of human trafficking.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that it's just women and it just happens in other countries, but the reality is anybody who has certain vulnerabilities or is showing vulnerabilities can be susceptible to human trafficking. It could be children, teenagers, men, women, and really anybody.
Yeah.
There are like some vulnerability factors that may make somebody more susceptible, but in reality, anybody. And there's other forms, like it can start with like human trafficking is between sex trafficking or labor trafficking as well. So it can happen to anybody, and
Yeah.
that's why when we're doing our presentations we try to also bring that to light, because sometimes people forget that it can also happen to men, even though maybe the like percentage of victims or survivors may be more so women or women identifying. um it's still, it's important that people understand that it's
Yeah.
not just one category,
Right.
one specific
Yes.
person, one specific.
And Carletta, you had your hand up?
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you so much for getting the opportunity to meet you. So I have been working with the San Francisco Coalition Against Human Trafficking for over 10 years. And I was also the chair of the Super Bowl 50 against human trafficking campaign that was done here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And Love Never Fails also is part of the actual overall SFCAT. We just finished a global uh, what do you say, webinar in reference to human trafficking. And so what I wanted to say is that in the Bay Area, obviously our cluster was around the fact of, we're a tourist mecca coming in and out of, all these other different countries. And the reality is, we did a campaign in the airports and so forth. We have the same scenario that will be happening when we do the Super Bowl in San Francisco the following year. which is, yeah. So, um, one of the other colleagues that I worked with also is Phyllis. She just came in from Southern California, and so I'd like to get your information so that I could talk to you offline. I
Yeah, yeah.
see.
I
Yeah,
I
I'll
put
connect the two of you by email.
yeah, I put
Or
my
you
email
could put it
in the
in the
chat.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, we do work with SF Cat. We're part of their coalition as well. We actually just I had one of our youth enter the SF Cat. They have a really, really amazing teen poster challenge.
Uh,
Where
that's
yeah, where
right.
they
The poster challenge. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it was a really great opportunity. So whenever the poster challenge comes back up, I always tell people because it's a great way to educate the students or the youth about human trafficking, but also give people kind of like a catharsis for some individuals, like to share their stories if they were impacted by human trafficking. Um,
Right.
and yeah,
Yeah.
so we actually had our youth win this last
Oh, that's wonderful.
poster
Yeah,
challenge.
that's great. Well,
Yes,
I'll connect the two of you.
yes.
Thank
And
you.
obviously, Antonia Levine. She was the force that started our
Yes.
SFK.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm a former commissioner on the Commission on the Status of Women, and that's how that cluster, we came together. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here.
You're
I
welcome.
want to give you that personal encouragement. God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank
Wanted to we want to get to the word, but I'm gonna we'll come back. But I wanted to acknowledge Connie. Connie
Well,
again.
I just wanted to say something about that. That it can happen at any age, well, almost any age, but I was in a foreign country, and I walked out of the youth hostel. I was just in early 20s, and I wanted to get some fresh air. And a car drove up, and this man grabbed my arm and tried to pull me in the car. And so a young man was standing nearby, and he grabbed my arm the other way, and they were pulling me back and forth. But if that man had gotten me, I don't know what would have happened to me. I wouldn't be here today, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's a warning to young women and etc. too, and men, because they're everywhere you go, you need to be careful.
Well, I'm so glad that's one of the things that we're working on as PWIC is a part of our 5 areas that we're working with the UN in trying to end the human trafficking. So that's really great. I'm glad everyone is sharing. So and I wanted to acknowledge Dr. Carolyn Scott. Hi, Dr. Scott, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. I know you are so super, super busy. How are you today?
Just barely breathing, but good, good. I need Marcia. I need Nurse Marcia. I'm gonna have to jump off soon and get over to our church where Carla and I go, and then from there to the hospital and back, but not for myself to visit someone.
Yes.
Yeah, Valerie. So, but I thought if I could catch a snippet, I told Joanne I would just jump on the subject, and the theme, forgiveness, and
Yes.
um, that is so huge. And then this morning, heard some horrible news where our leader of the nation has stopped the trucks and some were en route to bring food to California.
Mm.
We have a food desert. They're shutting down our stores, and it seems a combined effort. We're losing our stores in communities where people are poor, don't have transportation, and the store disappears with a bank in it, pharmacy. It's the only thing in the community. In the Western Addition, we've lost that here. Our Walgreens, 2 of our Walgreens, so now we have none.
Wow.
plenty of thousands of people to serve. And so forgiveness, when I was looking at that word and then got the news, and it was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'll work on it. Again, um, but yes, it's something, love never fails, and love will always outweigh hatred.
Yes.
And as light outweighs the darkness.
Yes, it will.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we got to stay strong.
Oh, yes. Mhm.
So let's go over to Marion and Joanne. And so Marion, first tell us how you came up with the word expodi ex I'm not
Expiation.
expiation.
Expiation. Yeah.
Expiation.
Yeah.
And why. And then Joanne is, she wrote a book that was, as you know, endorsed by Desmond Tutu on forgiveness. And that's one of the key things, and it is so powerful. So start thinking about something that all of you want to share. And we'll try to, try not to stay too long on the subject so people could share on their what forgiveness is for them. And we'll go to you first if you're still on, Dr. Scott, since you have to leave. But go ahead, Mariam, why did you pick that word? And I know it was around forgiveness. So go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, in working with Joanne and putting our article together, I knew that the focus was forgiveness. And, when you think about forgiving and trying to find another appropriate word that would really, have an impact. And I was looking, and then I was led to the word expiation. And when I opened it and I saw the definition, the act of making amends or reparations for guilt, that to me said forgiveness. So it just, Joanne and I worked together, and it meshed, and we went ahead and used it.
Awesome. Oh, Missy, just so you can know, Marion finds some words that sometimes we can't pronounce, but it does resonate with with who we are and what we're up to.
No,
So
I love
Joanne,
that.
yeah. So Joanne, you wrote the article. What are the highlights of this article for you, for our members?
For me, it's really, really, really getting in touch with the amazing power of forgiveness and expiation. I mean, just really getting it. I mean, I writing this article and then thinking about it and thinking about it and working with it and thinking about it some more. I got in touch with how often things happen and we get angry and we don't even realize why or what's going on. It's just, you get to where you almost want to maybe even kill the person, and I mean, I'm a good person. I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, but I until I really, really went through some things and got in touch with forgiveness, I used to feel that a lot. I wished that I had some way of, in my mind, killing the person and getting rid of the person, and knowing that God wanted me to do that. Of course, that's not so. Of course, that would have been ridiculous, ridiculous beyond belief. But I got more and more in touch with forgiveness when things happened to me again and again and again. And and I would get so mad at the people, I couldn't continue to talk with them and be around them. And what finally I kept going to God and saying, God, I need help. I need help, and finally God said, forgive. You must forgive. Forgive.
and just quit saying anything, quit thinking the bad thoughts. Quit thinking the bad thoughts. Forgive. And you'll, and so I started working on that and working on it. And then I was reading stuff and studying and whatever and writing stuff down. And the more I did that, the more I realized, yeah, I could let go of things. I didn't stay angry all the time. I didn't stay, it was easy to be happy. I could love, and I felt free to love and free to be with people, anybody. And even people that upset me, I found a way to forgive them. I found a way to forgive and let it go and be okay, or just not be around them. Maybe that's it. But the main thing is that I learned that I could forgive with God's help. I could forgive and 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 really forgive and go on with my life and let that person go on. Now, if I was around the person a lot, then I would say things at times that hopefully made a difference for for that person to look at things and consider things. But not always. It doesn't always happen. That person, usually people who are really into making others feel bad and awful and making them bad and wrong and everything, are struggling with so much within themselves. They need to really learn to forgive.
Right.
Very much. Forgiveness is what allows us to love each other. And once I really got to that, that's where I finally really got into forgiveness. Forgiveness is what allows us to love everyone around us, no matter what. We can forgive them. We can forgive no matter what they say or do. We can forgive them. And maybe I don't spend as much time with them as I thought I would or as I had been doing or something. Maybe I go on with my own life in other ways and finding other people, but I forgive them and I let them be themselves, and I am able to love them and pray to God for them, not just so that I'm happier because they're not hurting me, so that I can get away from them or something, but pray that they can find love. Because when I get to the place that I can quit repeating those awful things they said to me or did to me or pointed at me or in some way or something, when I get to the place that I can forgive that and continue to talk to God and pray for them and pray and say and realize that this is what love is about. This is love. Forgiving what just got happened, what just got said. This is, and forgiving that is what love is. This is love. To be able to do that and not just want to, horrible and awful, you want to kill the person or something,
Joanne,
Yes.
you gave me permission to interrupt, so
Yes,
the
yes, I
one
did.
thing,
Go ahead.
the one thing I know we talked about last night was, when people are hitting you with the negativity or they're wronging you in any way, shape, or form, our automatic response is, if somebody's coming at us with negativity, our natural response is to crunch up like that and say,
Yeah.
I'm going to defend myself, because it's a fight or flight thing.
Yeah.
And we have to bring ourselves to the point where we don't focus on their negativity. We have to wash ourselves of that negativity, let it flow off like rain. And then once we release that pain, then we can forgive them and move into the healing process. Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad I meant it last night when I said yes, because
I know,
we
yeah.
worked on this together. We wrote it together, and we
Yeah.
talked together frequently, and I appreciate it very much. I like it. I would like to just because I took some effort to write something here that I would like to read and finish out by reading the end of what I wrote. And it's on the page, but I don't know. I hope if I read this from what we said, what Marion and I said, and then if I read the ending of this, I hope it will make everybody want to go to that page and read it again and maybe even copy it and keep it with you, because it will make so, I mean, there's so much life in our world today, and even in the United States, there's so much life that makes us want to scream and rage and whatever. But what makes the difference is being able to forgive.
Yeah.
So may I take just a couple extra minutes to read something here?
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to say I am reading. We all talk on this program, but I want to read this. The forgiveness I am talking about is not so much an action after the fact, although it can be that, and it frequently is. The expiation or forgiveness I am teaching is more like an attitude, actually a way of being with which you enter each moment. It is a way of living your life all day, every day. When you practice daily forgiveness, when you practice forgiveness daily, forgiveness will become a habit and a whole different paradigm of reality. Forgiveness is about learning to love unconditionally. Consider that everything that has ever happened to you was an opportunity for you to heal something. Consider that.
Yes.
Within yourself, there is within yourself to heal some. Oh, I'm sorry. To heal something within yourself that is preventing you from loving unconditionally. And in Matthew 18:20-22, as I quote, Peter came up and said to Jesus, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. So your soul, knowing what you need for healing and growing, just keeps giving you opportunities to learn how to love everyone more fully, more joyously, and even more fiercely. And again, a quote from the Bible, Hosea 14:4 states, I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely. This highlights God's unconditional and freely given love as a model for our own love towards others. And
Amen.
that's what forgiveness is all about, loving
That is,
others
yeah.
and letting us, we just, if we can stand in forgiveness, just have that a part of our lives all day, every day. It goes right with love, hand
Yeah.
in hand with love. Love lets us forgive. And it just, being able to forgive just makes it so much easier to love and to be with people and just let go of the things they say and do that upset us.
Yes.
So
And that is so beautiful. Thank you for reading that, Joanne. I know
you're
that
welcome.
it also said that whatever when we forgive, our Heavenly Father forgives us. And
Yes.
so if you continue being angry, what happens is it begin to harden your heart. And you begin to judge people. You begin to be angry with people who haven't done you anything. You just begin to build up that anger. So when you release it, as Joanne and Marion talking about, when you release it, you don't have to be in love and be around that person and let them keep abusing you, but you forgive them and you let them go. And then
Yeah.
that softens your heart.
Yeah.
And before I go to Dr. Scott, I thought about something this morning on forgiveness when I was reading the article again. When I first started with PWIC here, I had just lost everything I had in Hurricane Katrina. I had nothing. but I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And I opened a account with the least amount you can open an account with. I think it was $25 at that time. Might have been $25, $50. And what and so I went and talked to the president of the bank, and she was so excited about what I was doing, working with women. And at that time, we were working with women entrepreneurs. And she wanted to help. So if I had something come in the bank, she just let it go, and she never charged me NSFE. She just paid it. And I put the money in when I could. Like, that was miraculous. But the vice president of the bank was a man, and he hated that. And any chance she was out, he would charge me. And he had such an attitude. He just did not like that. So one morning I woke up, and he would like give me the eyes too if I went into the bank. And so one morning I woke up and God said, call Pablo. That was his name. Call Pablo and tell him you're sorry. I mean, for me, it was like he needed to tell me he's sorry. He's the one with the attitude, right? But I was obedient, and I called him. And I said, Pablo, yes. I said, this is Valerie Bocai. Yes. I said, Pablo, I just called to say I'm so sorry. If I've caused you anything, anything that going on with the bank, I am really sorry if I've stressed you out, if I caused you any pain or just I am really sorry. I said, and so I told my story. I just come from New Orleans. I lost everything I had, and Diane, who is the president, is trying to just trying to help me get on my feet. And there was dead silence. And he said, Miss Bocage, I just closed your account. I didn't know.
Oh, wow.
He said, I just closed your account this morning. He said, but look, let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do to get your account open again.
Wow.
And it took him 2 days to get that account back open. And after that, he would pay off everything. Oh, Miss Bocage, you had something to come in. And I went ahead and approved it. But when I walked in the bank, he couldn't look at me. He would put his head down. So that having forgiveness is power. And about 4 months later, he retired. And so when we forgive other people, it frees us up to love and to make a bigger impact in our own projects. Because when we have that unforgiving heart, it's hard to flow. It's hard to move through anything. Yes. And you'd be wondering, why is this day stuck? I can't get anything done. Nothing's happening. But who are you being, who are you holding a grudge against? Where are you being inauthentic in your own life? So this is a powerful, powerful word. And give me the word again.
Expedient.
I'm not looking at expedient.
Expiation.
Expiation. Yes. So we're going to Dr. Scott first, and we want to welcome Dr. Najia Arnold, who's on the call, resting, and today is her birthday.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday.
We're going to say happy birthday to you, too, but we want to hear from Dr. Scott.
Yeah.
78.
Yes. Bless you.
Wonderful.
Bless
78,
you.
looking 50.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
78.
Okay.
Thank you so very much. That means so much.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So much. Yes.
Yeah.
Every day is a birthday that I live, and I take a deep breath every day. It's my birthday.
That's right.
And I've been
It's the
blessed.
official one. So the word is today is forgiveness is what we're talking about. And so Dr. Scott, what do you hear? Let's hear from you since you have to leave.
Yes. I'm going to start at the end. The end goes into the Word of God, like Joanne shared. God worked with me. Um, you forgive, and I'll forgive you. You know, and that opened my eyes real big. You start thinking of things nobody else knows about but you. And he said, because vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
That's it.
And that really, he says, you could never do the damage or repair or getting into that person the way I will and the way I can. And as she also said, I will heal the backsliding. And in many of my disappointments, I did want that person to be saved, to be healed, delivered, and just a changed life. And so, with saying that, that put me on a journey of forgiveness for many different situations. And one started as a toddler until age 12, where there was a gun to my head and I was molested for years. Age 12, I was able, because of being very recreational, having six brothers, and my dad and mom were both very recreational as well as good with academics, and they pushed us, encouraged us. And I was the only girl, and my dad always let me know how precious I was. And my brothers did things for me, and then my mom and I did things for my dad. So there was a lot of honoring. So I never learned to hate men for that horrible thing. But as a result, when I became a young adult, I had 10 miscarriages, lost
my.
6 boys and 4 girls. So there was the deep, deep hurt again, disappointment. And I wanted to keep trying because I never had trouble conceiving, but just holding it because they did back in those days. If any of us remember Sophia Loren, each time she miscarried, I miscarried.
Oh,
And
oh my.
she too had about 10 or more. Um, that was a hardship. Then I ended up with my first marriage in an abusive. He was a semi-pro boxer, and I guess he needed to work out on me. So that was another thing I had to learn once I got away from that. Dr. Nigeria, where were you? And so I had to learn. And my mother had told me, she says, you never let anyone, I wouldn't talk to her because I didn't want her. She promised, and my dad promised, anyone ever bother you, I'll kill them. I didn't want my parents in jail or prison. And he said that to me from a child, a toddler. Your parents will kill me if they find out. He kept a gun to my head and said, and if you tell them they're going to go to prison, it's going to be your fault. Telling a baby that. So I grew up thinking that, believing that. So those were things I had to forgive. And others around that, one of the doctors with my miscarriage tried so hard to help me hold it, retain it, did surgeries. I had to sleep in a burn bed upside down for days and days to try and hold it in. But when I lost it and I cried, he said, shut up. People have harder things than this. So learning to forgive so many different things. I had to take over because my dad was disloyal to my mom, and she died at 47 of a broken heart and some other things. So I had to take over at age 24 and become the mom with 4 siblings under me and a brother in the service and another brother off married. So there was life again. But I learned, and my dad did like David. He repented. He asked for forgiveness. My mom forgave him before she passed, and just, never ever talked about him in a negative way. So they were role models. He showed me how, when you do wrong, to ask God to forgive you and to turn around and do everything the right way. My mom showed me forgiveness. She never, ever talked negative. And so that word forgiveness. And now, as I just shared about finding out this morning, our leader of the nation turned away the trucks bringing food into California and San Francisco, canceling that, and as well as canceling the funds that help take care of our African American museums. Cancel. I don't know why, but the hatred and racial discrimination, systemic racial discrimination, these things we have to forgive and allow God. It's like someone said in a story he told, take your hands off of God's project. Stop making it yours. So forgiveness is taking our spirit, our hands, our mind, and soul off of what God can do much greater and better and deeper than anything we could ever do.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have taken on forgiveness, and I see how God is just moving in your life and blessing you with huge things, being one of the women selected during Biden's administration to the president, to get a presidential award, a lifetime presidential award is huge for all the work that you're doing, Carolyn. So I want to commend you, and I know you got to get off in a little bit. I hope you can stay on and listen to some of our women. But just going into the hospital, going to the churches, going to people's houses, and you never stop. So you're powerful. So that word forgiveness is really powerful. So start thinking, if there's anyone in your lives that you haven't forgiven, make sure you do. And sometimes it's really hard to do. And you have to just call God, you're gonna have to help me with this one because I want to knock them out. Do like Najee, punch them out.
And
So
Valerie,
yeah,
and including yourself.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
had
Yes.
to, for those who don't know, because I did share this some time ago, I had to forgive the two people who killed my dad,
Mm.
Oh,
who
wow.
murdered him, his agent,
Wow.
and another person. And that was hard. I had to do some praying, but I was eventually able to
Mm.
forgive them.
Wow.
So thank you for that, Denise.
Mm.
I can't hear you.
I was referring to each of us, not just you. I didn't mean to point you out when I said
Oh,
yourself.
got it. Yeah, but that's what I thought of because I know you know that story.
Right. No,
Yes, you were right there.
so
Yeah.
I was saying including ourselves in being in forgiving.
Yourself.
Oh, yes.
Forgiving
Yes.
ourselves. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Part of
Yes. So, Maureen, you want to share?
I can comment on it
Sure,
because
whatever's in your heart.
when you're talking about the forgiveness and forgiving people and forgiving yourself, I mean, it really is such a basic tenet of so many things. You look at the AA program, and that's all about going through the steps. And, the one is going back and making amends with people, because until you let that go, you're stuck. You're just stuck with that anger and resentment. And then anyone that's been through any kind of a trauma, no matter what it is, if it's trauma to you, it's trauma. And then being able to release that, to me, I guess I just grew up in such a strong Irish family that it was just, I know somebody said it today, it's kind of an attitude that if you hold that kind of anger for anyone, you're just taking yourself down and hurting yourself. Because I guess the only thing that really came to my mind was my divorce, because that was such an absolute betrayal. But that sounds so minimal compared to what people are sharing here today. But there's some people that you can drive yourself crazy and get more angry if you are waiting for them to feel bad, or thinking that they're going to feel bad for what they did, or destroying families and generations. And so you have to learn to let that go and just accept that that's what it is. Because if you're ever waiting for someone to say, oh, I'm so sorry, it's for some people, it's just impossible and you only eat yourself up. So to me, I just look at um, it's truly being able not to let somebody take over your life. It's really a gift to yourself.
Yeah, that's great. And have that much power over you and your thoughts.
Mhm.
Yes, that was great. Thank you. Denise, you want to share what the resonating, how does this
Well,
resonate?
what I was thinking about, a couple of things. One, I was thinking about the book that Joanne wrote about South Africa. And I remember when the apartheid regime finally acknowledged that we need to allow for full democracy. And I just remember the leader, oh God, his name is escaping me, not Tutu, what's the other, the Mandela.
Yes.
Nelson Mandela, I just remember being so impressed and so amazed. He was held prisoner for 27 years unjustly, tortured for 27 years, and the grace with which he led the new South Africa. To me, that was just one of the phenomenal models of forgiveness, but not forgiveness as in, I'm going to let you walk all over me. No.
No,
Forgiveness in
no,
strength, forgiveness in righteousness, forgiveness in justice, that they're
yes,
not, that
yeah,
they can go together.
yes,
And maybe sometimes some of us are reluctant to forgive because we think it means, oh, I have to make what you did this wrong. I have
Okay.
to make it right. No, that's not it. I think someone here said it's giving up the power that other people have on you, the negativity that other people have on you.
yes,
It's kind of like
yes.
creating a clearing to go forward and create a new future. So that's some of what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I like creating a new future. Like let stuff go and let's create something new. That
Right.
really,
Like it. Yeah.
yeah. Marcia, what about you?
I remember my days at San Jose State University. I was one of few African American faculty, and I was on the road toward a full professorship. So it was my turn to become chair of the personnel committee, and suddenly the committee changed the rules and they decided that we shouldn't do it this way. We should do it some other way. So I never became chair of that committee. And just little micro inequities, as Margaret Wilkerson used to say, that we experience in life. It made me so angry that I literally got sick. And I was realizing that I was killing the wrong person, that I'm angry, but it's inside and I'm not acting out on people who offended me. So I started praying. I said, God, this is just too heavy for me. This whole issue of racism and what I'm experiencing. Please take this from me. And I literally went to church and put it on the altar and said, you take this because it's too much for me to handle. And I would just pray that I would let it go. And I would do this every day, just let it go, let it go. And finally, I felt relief and I stopped being so physically ill by it. And things turned around. And so I've learned to give it to God, that whatever it is that you're experiencing, give it to God. And I know you're greater than I am. You're in charge of this. Please help me get through it. And that's been my motto ever since. I've been able to survive using that mindset. So forgiveness is not about us forgiving other people. Like Denise said, it's us forgiving ourselves for trying to take it on and fight alone and turn it over to someone much more powerful who can handle it. So expiation, that's what it means for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great, great, beautiful.
Yeah, Colette,
Beautiful. Yes.
Pauletta.
So what I wanted to say is that the one thing that I have learned, but searching in my heart for a closer relationship to God, um, as one of the members talked about, the 12 steps and so forth, that is definitely part of, you know, releasing. But what I wanted to say is that this is what I thought was very powerful. So, our human nature, the flesh, is to be angry, to seek, retaliation. As they say, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And so you hear that and you know that. But see, our flesh, you're gonna still hold on. And then guess what? It eats you up inside. And then you have uh health issues and everything else behind this situation that you won't let go of. But by getting a closer relationship to God, this is the profound thing that I've learned is that I prayed about it and God said, forget. And I got on my knees and I said, Lord, I forgive this person. And and when I did that, I felt a lift because forgiveness is God filled. It's our human nature is the opposite. But when you really, really release, because that forgiveness that you give, God forgives you. It's connected. I knew that mentally in my mind. And, I tried to apply that. But when I said from the deepness in my heart, I forgive,
You were free.
I was free. I've never, and you know what? Because all of us have a purpose that Lord has for us. And that latching on, it prevents from doing and feeling free and not allowing people when they do things and say things to stop your connection with the purpose God has for your life. And so the example I want to give is that I was thrown into ongoing traffic by my significant other. Um, and during the time when I finished law school and I was in Washington, D.C. I have other situations that Marcia talks about being in academic situations where, you know, I was the only Black woman in this particular law school class, and the professor always, tried to tear down whatever I said. I've had persons in my law school class who told me, "Oh, you're not going to graduate." It's a lot of that in there. But the one I want to tell you about is that the domestic violence situation that I was in, how I prayed to God that like a dove flies out of a window, that he would just fly me out. And this person, they had that boxer. Yeah, he was a boxer, so his hands were a lethal weapon. So this particular day, the Lord told me to take all the knives that were in the kitchen and everything and put them up as high as I could get them because, you know, it's one thing to physically hit you, but then the next stage is when they come with the weapon. So the bottom line is that it was broad daylight. I was at a Safeway in Washington, D.C., right before you get to the Capitol. And he just came out of nowhere. And he was, 6'5". So this is the point. This is what I want everybody to know. Number one, the fire station was right next to it. I didn't even know that firemen can arrest a person. That so the refuge that when it happened, God had a place where I could have ran into the fire station, but I didn't know that. So he came at me with my own car and jumped out and threw me into oncoming traffic. And I know that God saved my life because he was so tall they could see him. And when and it's very busy in DC. So the headlight was right at my head. Okay. And he jumped back in my car and drove through the intersection because he didn't want to get arrested. What I'm saying to you is God did exactly what he did for me because I wasn't in the house. I was out in public and I had a chance. And that's what saved my life. And my mother bought an airplane ticket that you could get anywhere in the country and told me, don't go back to the house, go to the airport, do what I'm telling you to do, and leave everything. And that's what I did. And when I got to the airport, Reagan Airport, and I said my name, they took me into a section where I was protected. And the next thing I knew, they flew me home in the same window that I saw when I would see the planes fly out. When I was on the lawn, I looked down out of that window and God flew me home. So you want to believe that, yeah, wanted to do something to him. And it took a long time. But through forgiveness, God freed me from that.
That God flew you out like the dove you asked him to. He
Exactly.
flew you out.
Hey.
All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Forgiving sometimes is really, really hard, the things we go through. But when we do, we regain power and even more.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Christia, what about you? How does forgiveness resonate with you? Dr. Marcia?
Oh, I already spoke.
You did?
Yep.
Yeah, she did.
Okay. I am
Lorelei.
so sorry. Oh, yes.
Lorelei.
Okay.
Hi.
Lorelei.
Through all of
Lorelei.
through all of these discussions, I realize that my spiritual balance is not where it should be. Because every time I think of our leader of our country, Carolyn talked about the food being denied to California. He did the same thing in Ohio, $2 million worth of food that was to go to the schools for hot lunches and for the food banks. And he just stopped it. And so it's sitting on the side of the road in trucks rotting, you know. I mean,
my.
I'm really struggling with this because it makes me so angry because it shouldn't be that way. But anyhow, I've also been struggling for these last couple of months. I'm writing a book about the family, and I've had to go back and re-examine all kinds of things, and I've had to forgive myself, and that has been hard. I look back at the things I did, and I just say to myself, I did the best I could at the time with what I knew. And that's all I can do, and sort of, forgiving myself, then wishing I could still go back and change some things, but I can't. So that's the forgiveness that I've been working on. And then I have only one other thing to say, and that's that we need to say happy anniversary to Joanne. She's going to be having a 58 years.
58. 58.
58.
Wednesday, rather. And her husband is going to be 90 years old on the 10th. So
Yes.
marvelous milestones.
Happy anniversary.
Awesome.
Anniversary.
Happy
Thank you.
anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. 58
Happy
years
anniversary.
married. Wow. Wow. How do you do it?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes. You forgive one hell of a lot.
You forgive.
Forgiveness.
Yes, forgive.
Forgiveness.
Anniversary. And Laura Lee, what state are you in?
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Thank you.
Yes. So Najee, I know you've been listening. Yeah,
Yes, I have.
It's, it's been tear jerking. I mean, I thought I had it hard, but the sister that lost the 10 babies, that is something.
Mhm.
Never heard of that before.
Mm.
No.
And the sister that went to the school and they kept her from getting her position. I'm sorry, I don't have your name,
I
but I know
remember
that.
now, Marcia,
Yeah.
you're speaking. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Najia.
Yes.
Yes. And it is. It's something sometimes you have to forgive yourself out of our own ignorance, out of my own ignorance, you know, because there are things and people that have done things to you and you really want to get them back. For me, I want to fight.
Yes.
I have to forgive myself and give it to God and let Him handle it. But you guys are so strong and God giving. I mean, you give your souls. You've been through so much, and it hurts when you've been raped and beat and left for dead to come back and forgive the person that did that to you. And that's what happened to me. I should have been dead 7 times. And I keep asking God, why do you keep sparing my life? What is it about me that you want me to experience in this life? But it wasn't until I realized that I had to forgive the man that tried to kill me. Well, a couple of men, and forgive myself because you don't see yourself and you don't see what you do to other people or say to other people. You think it's nothing, but it might have hurt them. So you have to forgive yourself for things you're aware of or the things that you're not aware of. I think this is an awesome meeting today to talk about forgiveness. Um, it releases your soul. It keeps you from being sick. Like the young lady said, that she was ill. She was ill because of it. And I know it hurts. And then you wonder, well, what's the purpose? How do we learn? How do we learn from forgiving others? But
Mm-hmm.
it's important for us to understand that the forgiveness is what sets you free.
Yes.
That's what sets you free, is to
Yes,
be
it does.
able to do that.
Right.
Yes. Yes,
Some
absolutely.
Yeah.
someone that chokes you, someone that kills your baby, or and you turn around and say, "It's okay." It's okay. I forgive you for doing this to me.
It's not okay, but I forgive you.
But I
Yeah.
forgive
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Yes.
that's hard. That's hard to do, and we have to pray. You know,
Yes.
ask God to allow us to forgive,
Yeah.
to let it go. It's a memory now, and He kept you here for a reason.
Right.
I
Yep.
want to find out what's the reason for it.
Right.
Why didn't I die or get killed or whatever happened? Why did you save from it?
For a reason. Yes.
What's the reason?
Yes. Well, you've changed so many lives, Nigeria, and continuing as you deal with all of the underprivileged
Yeah,
communities, all of them. And
I
so,
love it. I mean, I get excited about helping the gang members, the ones that are hungry. I think I see myself in them. I
yeah.
guess that's what I do. I see the days that I was hungry, that so hungry I passed out. Um,
Mm.
and I want to feed her. I want to feed that little girl that was hungry and couldn't find any food to eat or was raped and didn't understand why. I mean,
Yeah.
so many things. I hate to think about all of that, but I'm here. I think that I went through all of that to be able to help this generation, to
Right.
help those people who are going through what I went through. Because I think if you haven't experienced it, if you've never experienced being so hungry that you passed out, or so hungry that when this young boy threw up his food from his breakfast, I was so hungry I wanted to get on the ground and lick it up. That's how hungry I was. So,
Oh,
in order for me to even think about eating something that someone else threw up, makes me have empathy and compassion for the ones who are suffering today from hunger or mistreatment.
Yes.
You
God
know,
knew how
I
to
can have
humble us.
compassion for them. I can have compassion and not turn my nose up at them.
That's right.
You know,
And
and
then,
that's why I can help them today because I know what it feels like to be hungry. I understand what that feels like, the hurt, the pain of it. And I'll help someone else. I'm helping the little girl, the little Nigeria.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm helping her.
that's right. That's awesome, Nigeria. Thank you for sharing. And we are gonna sing happy birthday to you too. Just a minute. So, Connie, you want to do a quick share for us?
Well, I guess I can say that my opinion is a little different. I sometimes pray people get what they deserve. um, I'm sorry, but I've suffered a lot as a child. I was so hungry. I would I would be sneaking into the clothes closet where the kids had their lunch boxes just to steal food out of each box. So I got caught and punished.
Yeah.
But the thing that was so horrible to me is to be living so many places where you're vulnerable to people, where anybody can do anything to you. And my grandfather, when my grandmother was out, molested me, tried to rape me. But what he did even worse was say that if you tell anybody, I'm going to kill your grandmother. She was the first person in my life that had loved me. But I'm a fighter, and I was only 5.5. And I went and got behind the couch with all my toys. And he was old and feeble and sick. And when he walked by, I pushed all my toys out, and he fell down and had to go to the hospital. So they said, maybe this isn't a good place for you to be. So off I went again to another place. But the thing is that I had nightmares. I suffered nightmares for until I was 14. It was so bad. I was trying to kill myself. And so my adoptive parents, they took me to the only psychologist to ever was the first psychologist in Pensacola, Florida. And he tried and tried and tried to get me to talk. And then finally, he tried hypnotizing me. He couldn't hypnotize me. And he said, I have never seen anybody as strong as you. What is it you're hiding? And I finally was able to tell him. And that was a huge release. I have never forgiven him. I hope and pray he gets exactly what he deserves. I'm sorry. But I tell you what, he made me a very strong person. And I've been fighting all my life to help others. I've set up camps and food things and all other things. And I think that we need to be thankful that we didn't turn out to be bad, that we turned out to be good and caring. And we are advocates for those who don't have a voice, kids who don't have a voice for so many years. And I've been to Romania, I've been to Russia, I've been in East Germany, and I have seen the fear of that dictators cause. But most importantly, I have seen the thousands of children in Romania that I helped and delivered supplies to after the overthrow. And I saw the result. Children need to be protected. And when we have good leaders who care about kids, children have a better chance of getting through life without becoming horrible people. I'm sorry. That's a little different from everybody else, but
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
what I would suggest, Connie, is because that you are awesome. You have done some miraculous work, some really great work in helping people. But I would suggest you have a call with Joanne separately to get to that place for yourself of forgiveness. And I totally understand because it was hard for me. But call me. I'm willing to talk to you so that you
I pray for people and everything.
Yeah.
And then, well, I also, for my birth mother who committed suicide, I had a lot of things happen.
Yeah.
But the thing is I know I am very, very strong.
Yes,
And
you are.
and so I think resilience is a gift.
Yes, it is.
And I pray to constantly be able to help others.
Yeah.
And that's why I wrote that book. So ebook, I got to work on a few parts because
Yeah, Connie, we need to congratulate Connie. She made a bestseller with her first book, bestseller on Amazon.
and
Wow.
for a new
Awesome.
release in 6
Awesome.
categories. But the
Yeah.
thing is that what it is I know that so many veterans who went to Afghanistan or joined the military came from foster care. They were aged out of foster care. They didn't have help before. We don't know what they had, but they did when they came back. And then since then, of course, my son, 5 of his buddies have committed suicide. So I think that I have to write this. I have to write it. And I'm going to write the actual paperback, and it's going to be even better. But it should help all people who are homeless, who are hungry. The things that I care about are homelessness and hunger and community and having a purpose in life. And to me, that's what the book is about.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So
Thank you.
Dr. Honeycutt, I know you came on a little bit late, but I know you're hearing us talking all about forgiveness and becoming stronger after we do and learning the power of forgiveness. So what do you have to say on this subject?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to ask you to forgive my appearance because this
You're
is
still beautiful.
Oh yeah,
You're beautiful.
Yeah, right. Okay. This is Honeycutt after she has had a root fracture operation, oral surgery, and has the grace of God recuperated from it, but and is icing her cheeks and everything else. But I'm still here. I'm still with you, and you women are stories are resonating with me. Connie, I need the title of your book. I just read an article today about people who were at a sheriff's office and they had 4 different people who had committed suicide. I'm very concerned about our young people committing suicide. I want to read your story, Connie. Make sure that Valerie has the title so she can share
it got a little messed up in formatting, and I got to find someone that can help me. I found someone, and I'm going to redo it. So I'd like for you to wait, but it's going to be even better because we're developing neurotherapeutic technology to go into the container homes. And that provides immediate feedback
I'll
because
wait, Connie.
sometimes you
wait.
can't wait 2
Okay.
months for an
Okay,
appointment.
honey. Thank you. That's your book is important. I want to say this to you.
Thank you.
I have not experienced everything that all of you have gone through. Now, I've gone through stuff. There's no doubt about it. I'll give you an example. And why is it that every person on this call that has been involved in the academic world has a story to tell? Because that's the nature of the beast when you're working as a woman and as a woman of color in the academic world. Okay, you have to be 2 and 3 times better, they think. All you need to do, of course, is to call upon the gifts that God has given you and he will work it out for you, which I found out to be. But I want to tell you briefly about a situation that occurred with me. And that is that I was in a meeting. The main administrator who was in the meeting said something very unkind to me in a meeting of my peers. And he knew he had did something wrong, and people called him and told him, you better apologize to that woman, okay, because she didn't do anything wrong. So he did call, but his apology was pathetic. He said to me, if I did something wrong, I apologize. Now we know that's not an apology, but that was all
No.
he could, put together at that time. Okay, so but my eldest grandson will tell you that it took 2 weeks for me to get over that, and it did because I was just trying to get the information to share with. I was the dean of a school, get the information to share with my staff and with the people in the community. So it did take me a while to work through that. I prayed every day, and finally God released me from it, and God took over. But I want you to know, when God takes over, he takes over. Okay. So what happened is, this same administrator called me afterwards, and he wanted me to have this meeting with this woman in the community, because this woman had threatened that she was going to go after the college and everything if he did succeeded in trying to close down the campus at which I was a dean. So in the meeting, he was deferential to her. He was scared to death of the woman, because the woman she had the power to really do him in. So after the meeting, he said, no, we're not going to close this school down. No, oh no, we're going to keep the school here, and Dr. Honeycutt will be able to do all the things that she's doing. Now he's telling her that, but he can't tell me this kind of stuff. Okay, so after the meeting, he told me I can run the school any way I wanted to. He said that don't let anything negative come back to me. Okay. And he said, I don't ever want to see that woman again. So you can do whatever you want to do. Well, he was true to his word. He didn't mess with me anymore. And we were able to do some wonderful projects that hadn't been done before. The biotech folks were right down the street. And so we were able to develop a program which helped community people learn their basic biotech skills so that they could then transfer to the biotech program at the so-called main campus and then get jobs. Okay, that was just one of the programs. We worked with all kinds of people in the community. What I'm saying to you is that when you let God take over, he'll take over. Okay, it took me, as far as I'm concerned, it took me far too long to forgive the man. Okay, 2 weeks, you can't, and of course you're working yourself up, your blood pressure's going up, and even if my grandson could recognize that I was still battling with that situation, I didn't want him to see that, but maybe it was good for him to see that so he would learn how to deal with getting rid of stuff that is just not productive in your life. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is that God has his way of working with us, and he knows what each of us need in order to be whole, and so that he can use us as the vessel he needs to do his work. He may work with Marion in one way. He may work with Dr. Marcia in another way. He may work with Connie in a certain way, and all of the rest of you wonderful, wonderful women. But he knows what you need. Okay? And so be receptive to it. What keeps me straight, of course, is reading Joanne's wonderful book. And by the way, make sure you read her forgiveness book. What keeps me straight is remembering the sacrifice that Christ made at Calvary for me and for you. The pain he went through so that we could be free of the sin and perdition in this world. That's huge. God gave up his son for us. The least I can do is go through these moments of travail here on this planet. And we're going through quite a bit now. But we must remain strong in him and do his work to glorify him. And other thing that we have to remember is the many blessings he has bestowed upon upon us, upon me. I'm old as dirt, just went through major surgery upon my tooth, and I'm still here because he has work yet for me to do. He opened my eyes so that I could do this, to see you today. And you're a blessing to me. And I'm regretful about the terrible things that you've gone through. But I'm so glad to see you wonderful, resilient women doing good things in the world and in America for God and for people who desperately need support. But we keep that in your mind, the blessings that he bestows on you, your family, your allies, even your enemies. And we must learn to pray for our enemies without a shadow of a doubt. Pray that they see the light, see Jesus, the light of the world. Okay? So if we keep focused and not let the things of the world overcome us, and really, as Marcia and the rest of you so eloquently said, Najia, all of you, turn it over to God. And don't take a whole lot of time to do it. Pray your way through the day. I remember Joyce's book. Before you do anything, pray. God, give me the words so that I can do, what you're calling me to do, what you will me to do. So that's what I want to say you do. Yes, there are many things that have happened to us in life that are difficult. And I'm just going to keep praying that God will bless all of you and help you so that you can still be productive and the wonderful women that I see in this video today. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Honeycutt. You're such a blessing, and you're still beautiful too.
Oh, thank you, Valerie.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all agree about that.
Mhm.
We welcome Chi. I know you came on at the last. Our word today is forgiveness. And one of the things before Chi speak, one of the things before I forget is if we see any of our loved ones in not forgiving someone, let's coach them and talk to them and use God's word on helping them to forgive the person they're angry with. So let's take that on, looking at someone in our family, in our lives, our friendships, if they are angry, to just say, you have to forgive for yourself. You can't hold that in. You go around being angry, especially if it's someone that they really care about. But that's how the devil comes in. But just looking at all of our lives, there's some of my relatives that I'm definitely going to start talking to after this call on forgiving other people. So I just wanted to say that. So Chi, welcome. I know you came in after last, but we welcome you with all of your beautiful work you're doing in California, in Nigeria, providing water and food and all of the stuff that you are doing. And you women are just such powerhouses. It's just amazing to me. I'm just so thankful to have all of you. So you want to say hello, Chi?
Yes. Thank you so much. And please forgive me for being late. I had an unforeseen circumstances. And Marianne, I saw your message, and thank you, Valerie, for the reminder. But I would have been remiss if I did not honestly say thank you to everyone that have spoken. I think the topic really strikes hard to my own heart when it comes to forgiveness. And I would just want to piggyback on what Dr. Hanukkah said, which is, the Bible says you forgive, right? You forgive so that you can be forgiven. Right. For me, forgiveness is, don't get me wrong, I still have people that I haven't forgiven. As a matter of fact, some of my pain I took to a book. And, but I think forgiveness, sometimes you forgive so that you can free your own spirit. You are not just forgiving the person who have hurt you, but you are also forgiving yourself to be free. You are empowering yourself to be free. Because sometimes we are angry at people, and the people that we are angry at, sometimes they don't even care. And that's a fact. You can be killing yourself dying, they give no damn about it. But when you forgive, you free yourself. Forgiving doesn't mean that you have to forget. You can still remember those things, but that's what gives us the strength to be the women of resilience that we are today. Most of the things that I do came from that angle because I know there are a lot of people that are hurting. They can't even speak about it. They can't even talk about it. I have a private group that I started, and I started that group as a process of healing myself of things that I can't talk about with people, and also helping the kids that I work with in this USA learn to be free, and also don't take their anger to the point that they are getting expelled from school. Because you see, sometimes people are so angry for things that people have done to them. They're unforgiving that it causes them their own future, especially the children that I serve. As an elected official, I sit through sometimes kids that are expelled from school because they are unable to manage their anger from the hurt they feel, even if it's going through foster care, going through so many things. But the result of that is that they end up hurting themselves because they took the anger out on somebody.
Yeah.
So I'll share this. I was speaking to someone. I never knew this lady. She's so beautiful. She has a program in San Jose. It's called The Win. But what I didn't know about her was running away from domestic violence. She jumped out of a 3-story building.
Yeah.
And was paralyzed for years.
Wow.
But in opening up and sharing things with her, and she looked at me and she said, I would have never known, with a smile you have on your face all the time, when you walk into a room, you lit up the room. And she goes, I would have never guessed you went through any of that. Then she told me her own story. And I was even more flabbergasted by her story. So forgiveness to me, for those of you that read Bible to the core, I understand the Bible, but I understand what feelings means. And I understand that you have to forgive for your spirit to be clear, for your mindset to be clear. I know I teach a program called Knowing Your Self-Worth. See, I came to understand who I am,
right,
what I'm here to do, and I understand that understanding who I am and what I'm worth helps me go through all that. So to forgive now is much more easier. But like you, Valerie, I still have people that I haven't forgiven, even though I may have kind of like let it go, because people take advantage of you. And at some point, you go, when is this going to be over?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I would say to each and every one of us here today,
Yeah, Chichi, we don't have a whole lot of time.
and I understand this is Women History Month, and let us use this opportunity to learn to call each other, to forgive no matter what the hurt is, so that our own spirit may be free. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I would suggest that, as I said, just look at if there's anyone in our own life that we have not forgiven, that we work to do that, like in the past somewhere, that we could be free, because what we hold, hold against that person, it blocks our own blessings. And you start looking at really being free and not holding anything in. So look at that, because if we're not pushing forward and things are not opening, something is blocking us, and we have to go to that place. God, you help me to forgive. I'm holding anger and I don't know how to forgive it. I need your help. And trust me, he will. So this has been really great. Mitzi, I hope that you enjoyed our first call. Dr. Honeycutt, Missy is on the call. She's with Love Never Fails with Vanessa Russell, who you referred to us. And she's taking Vanessa's place. So she's working with human trafficking. And I know you know Vanessa.
That is fantastic. Hi, Missy.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
I am doing great. Loved getting to be a part of this first meeting and just being surrounded by so many resilient and powerful women. It's truly a blessing. A lot that I can look up to. Um, I just appreciate everyone's vulnerability, and I can see that this is definitely, you guys have cultivated a space where it feels like a second home. Everyone here seems very close and comforting each other through the adversities everybody has faced. And I just feel very, very blessed to be able to be in this space. So I appreciate extend for y'all extending the invitation to me. So thank you so much.
Valerie, let me say something to this wonderful young woman.
Go ahead.
I just want you to know, honey, that you have made my day. You know, what I love to look at is people, period, but young people. And I love to look at animals. Okay. And I love to have conversations with people I don't know. It's very common for me to do that. I was talking to 2 police officers when I was in up in another neighborhood in San Francisco. Come to find out we had some commonalities. Okay. But I'm saying this to you, Missy, because it's important for you to hear the voices of women and what they have been through, and yet what they've gone through it, but they prevailed. And why have they prevailed? Because of God. God is everything. Okay.
Hallelujah.
You have God in your life, you got it all. Okay. And yes, you're going to have difficulties and challenges, but that is meant. God will bring you through that because He's right there with you. That will help you to develop your character so that you will be able to do the things He's calling and wills you to do. I want you to know something else, sweetheart. You're my future. You're our future.
Yes, you
When I
are.
look at young, beautiful people like you, it's a blessing from God that you're here. Thank you for being affiliated with that organization. If you need anything, you know who to call. Call Valerie.
Yes.
And if you don't have my phone number, call me. These wonderful women who are here today are the best.
Yes,
And they
yeah.
love God. And don't ever think that because these people are acting crazy in the world, that there aren't people who are grounded in the Lord and doing His work, honey.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to thank you for being on this call, and you're just a blessing. I like looking at you. Okay.
Thank you.
It
Thank
really
you.
means that too. So, ladies, this was a fantastic call, but we are not getting off. I know we're running a little over, but we're not getting off until we sing happy birthday to Najee. And Missy, just so you can know, Najee was the bodyguard for Muhammad Ali. So she's sitting there just lying down, relaxed. Mess with her.
Now.
Now.
Yes.
So let's kick it off and let's sing happy birthday to Najee. Today is her birthday.
Yeah.
We are having a great one. So
Yes.
let's start it
Here we
off.
go.
You ready? Go ahead, Mary.
Happy
Birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Birthday to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday, dear
dear.
Asia.
Happy
Happy
birthday
Birthday to
to
you.
you.
and many
Many,
more.
many
more.
More.
Many
Thank
more.
you. Thank you. Thank
78,
you.
looking like you're 50 years old.
All right.
It's all God. Thank
Still
you
wearing
so
them
much.
high
I
heels.
bless you. Thank you. Bless you. Each and every one of you.
Thank
I
you.
just thank the Lord for you. You kept my spirit. You make me feel good. I'm a new woman. Every day I'm a new woman because
All
God
right.
has changed my spirit and I'm at peace
Yes.
with Him and the world. And I just bless you. I ask guys to bless each and every one of you.
Yes.
Chi, it's so good to see you. We must talk. Thank you so very much,
All right.
Valerie, and each and every one of you. God bless each one of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for the word, Marion and Joanne, and a great conversation. It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
Really
Thank you.
is.
Thank you.
And all
Welcome.
everyone's input too.
Okay.
I just want to say, all of you look so beautiful, so young and fresh. You are gorgeous.
Yes, they are.
They are gorgeous.
God set us
Yeah.
down through COVID, so we rejuvenated.
Yes. Praise God.
Yes.
Praise
Yeah.
God. God
You
bless
ought to see Coletta. Coletta looked like she done aged backwards.
Yeah.
And she know it.
Yes.
She's getting
Yes.
compliments all. We can't see her right now, but I saw her
Yes.
a couple of days ago. I said, "What happened to you? What you did?"
Yeah.
And Marcia said, "Yeah, she looked good in person too."
Yeah. Yeah. She does.
Yeah.
She does.
Praise God. I
Proud
love you guys. I
Thank you.
love you.
Love
Take
you.
care.
Love you
I
Okay.
too.
love you.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Take
Bye.
care.
Marion.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So good
Bye.
to see
Bye.
you.
Bye. Have a blessed weekend.
You
You
too.
too.
Glad you got
Cheerio.
on, Chi Chi.
Hey, Valerie, can you please send me
Yes.
Nigeria's number? Because since my phone hacked, I can't get anything.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Okay,
Oh,
please.
In a
Thank
few
you.
good.
minutes.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll
I'll
send it
give
to
her a
you in
call.
a few minutes.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Gigi. Oh, she got off.
Yay. Yeah, that was
Okay,
it.
let me take the call. Let's see. Calling.